Good evening to everybody tuning in. Happy to see everyone. Happy to see everyone tuning in on this evening. Dive on into the room. Everybody come on in the room. I am excited that you are here. And good evening to you, Samantha. And she said, hola. Oh, she changed languages. So she decided to get bilingual on me. Then she went back to English. And she said, are you every day? And if so, how do I get notifications? I am still at work. Well, if you want notifications, Samantha Smith, all you have to do is go to Coach Steele's Finance Training, Coach Steele's Finance Training on YouTube, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you subscribe to that YouTube channel, you will get notifications not only every time I go live, but also anytime I post a video on YouTube throughout the week, you'll also get notifications about those videos I post. So I do not just go live, but I also post videos, also post shorts. And so welcome to everyone to Coach Steele's Finance Training. If you want to get those notifications of when I'm going live, then subscribe to the YouTube channel. And YouTube will notify you and let you know at all times. YouTube at Coach Steele's Finance Training. And so this is Coach Steele's Finance Training. Happy to have you here this evening too, Coach Steele's Finance Training. I am the financial voice of the people. And if you don't know, then you probably should ask somebody. And so I'm excited to talk to you all again today about some more interesting items when it comes to financial literacy. And I have a lot of exciting things to talk about today. But yesterday we spoke on about electric bills and why these electricity bills are so high and what's happened the past 2 months and what we can also do to reduce that. And today's subject, we're talking about how 66% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and what that actually means and how that affects us as a whole when we talk about the economy, when we talk about America. There's a lot of things coming up as far as a political change and change of guards when it comes to America as a whole. But I want to talk about living paycheck to paycheck. But welcome to Coach Steele's Finance Training. If you're tuning in, give me a hello. Jump in the chat section on Facebook. If you are tuned in on YouTube, then of course jump in the chat section on YouTube and send me a good evening, or if you are West Coast, a good afternoon. But definitely happy to have you here. And just to know, at Coach Steele's Finance Training, we do go live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. So definitely happy to have you here, and subscribe to YouTube channel. So now, as we continue forward, and I've already welcomed you in, I noticed something about the YouTube channel. The number of members on the YouTube channel are constantly growing, especially the past 2 months. And so because everyone is tuning in and everyone is playing their role and playing their part to help the YouTube channel grow. And of course, it is Coach Steele's Finance Training. So we are a team, and we huddle up, we meet up, and we talk about financial literacy. But with it growing, I got pretty excited. And so I'm going to put a little secret out there, and most people won't know it or catch it unless they watch the video. But we are almost close to 300 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm excited about that. So I thought to myself, how should we celebrate 300 subscribers on YouTube? Anybody know what I came up with? Can anybody guess what I came up with to celebrate when we get to see 300 subscribers? Let's see. Can anybody guess what I came up with? Well, I'll tell you. I believe I'm going to do, like, when we hit 300 subscribers and we keep hitting different milestones, I believe I'm going to do like a $50 gift card giveaway. That might help somebody. For some people, it might be nothing. But $50 for others, especially the subject that I'm talking about today, where it says 66% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Oh yeah, $50 to help someone. So I'm deciding if I should do like two gift cards, like one $25, the other one $25, or if I should just do one $50 gift card. So in the next, few days, I'll let people jump in the comments section and tell me which one I should do. And so I'll, explain the rules or what you need to do to qualify for that $50 card giveaway, or whether it's going to do 25 and 25. And so I'm excited about that. And I'll show you all briefly before I dive into the subject about 66%, a majority of America living paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to show you the YouTube channel in case you do not know where to look or how to find it. So I'm going to share my screen and we will go to it real quick. So anyway, as you see right here, if you are constantly on my live or constantly in my YouTube channel, of course, you've seen all of these videos. Of course, I do have a certain section in the channel where I show, how I grow a lot of vegetables and things like that. So I need some water. Of course, that is on here. But when it comes to financial literacy, there's a lot of videos on here. And if you click on live, you can go through this library of content and information and watch a lot of the videos, whether it's about refinancing, whether it's about locating your money, whether it's about, is retirement possible? Is the 401k outdated? Financial independence. Tons of videos that you can watch. Budgeting, entrepreneur's mentality. So use an Excel sheet to budget. All of that good stuff is on here. But we're currently at 200. Let's see if I can enlarge it. We are currently at 277 subscribers. So when we get to 300, I'm going to give away $50. And of course, I'll have some type of rules or parameters. So if you think I should do $25 and $25 to increase the chances of multiple people winning, then let me know in the comment section. Or if you think I should just do the $50 by itself, just let me know in the comment section. But when we get to 300, we are going to celebrate. Now, anyway, today we are talking about living paycheck to paycheck because it's affecting a lot of people. And so when these stats say that it's affecting about 66% of America, that's about 2/3 of America. And so think about it. If 2/3 of America is living paycheck to paycheck, that means a majority of the people you pass by, a majority of the people that you're around all day, a majority of the people that you deal with are living paycheck to paycheck. Think about that. If 66% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, then a majority of the people you interact with are struggling from one month to the next. Woo! Let it sink in. We hear different phrases like birds of a feather flock together. We hear all these different phrases, and you got to put all of that to practice, because when you start really thinking about a majority of America, think about it. If they're living paycheck to paycheck, if one event happens, if one emergency, one tragedy, one unexpected event happens financially, the person who's living paycheck to paycheck is going to have a rough month or two after that, potentially longer. It may disrupt their whole financial flow and financial success just over one event, financial event, unexpected happening. So I want to go to an article so that we can look at this article and examine it, and then we'll discuss how it affects us personally. But I want you to understand it's important discussion to have when we talk about financial literacy. People have to put pride to the side. You have to be willing to learn something new, humble yourself. And if you are having financial problems, there's nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with getting guidance. There's nothing wrong with getting education, information, and knowledge to improve your situation and put yourself back into a positive place financially. But the problem is sometimes that we struggle to go get guidance and to go get help when we're struggling financially. Good evening to you as well, Miss McKinney. Definitely happy to have you on this evening. And like I said, I may be on for probably, I would say probably about 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to jump off. I'll definitely be off before 7:45. Anyway, definitely happy to have y'all here as we talk about living paycheck to paycheck and the problem in America with the majority of people living paycheck to paycheck. If a majority of the people that you are around are living paycheck to paycheck, what happens if something occurs in their life? Think about it. If one event happens and you're the person that's not living paycheck to paycheck, then they're coming to you and they're looking to you to bail them out of their situation. How many times have you been on the straight and narrow and doing well financially, and then someone has a problem outside of you in your household, and they come to you asking for help to fix their situation? In other words, they need to borrow money. They need to borrow your resources. Now, if you're in a financially healthy situation, they're going to expect you naturally to just give them whatever it is they need. But what if you're a part of that 66% that is living paycheck to paycheck yourself? We really have to examine this because there's a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck, but then there's a lot of people, they're living, I would call paycheck, and keep in mind, not picking on anybody, not pointing the finger. I just want us to understand how serious this is and how we need to make adjustments and spread the information and the knowledge of financial literacy to the people that we know. Even right now, if you know there's somebody that they can improve their financial situation, then share this information. Tag them in this, not to pick on them, but to help them. They may be doing well financially. So this is good information to share. And of course, I'm going to have more information as we get to the article that talks about women and their financial situation as well. You all know that I like looking at the stats. And of course, when it comes living paycheck to paycheck, they say women are worse off than men. Ooh. And that brings up a whole lot of, that opens up a whole nother can of worms, because we got to deal with if women are living paycheck to paycheck at a higher percentage worse than men, then what does that mean? How do women handle the fact that financially they're doing worse off than everyone else? What type of effect does it have on them personally, their children, relationships? How do they respond every month because of this issue? How do we fix it? How do we get help? How do we get guidance? So stay tuned as we deal with all of this on today. Appreciate everyone tuning in. And so I'm going to go ahead and dive to the article that talks about this. So I'm going to share my screen. And of course, like I said, everyone who's tuning in, if you can, share this on YouTube, share it on Facebook, whatever platform, share this information. If there's a lady, a woman in your life, or someone that you love and you care about, have women tune in this tonight as we go over this information, because they need to be aware of what's going on and what the statistics say concerning them. All right, let's see here. I'm going to share my screen and let's go to Market Watch. So I'll enlarge the screen a little bit. That way it'll be easy for everyone to read. And then we'll just go through some of this, not all of the article. We'll just go through some of it. All right. You all see what that says. It says paycheck to paycheck statistics. 66.2% of Americans report struggling between paydays. Dejan Tanay, good old Market Watch. So let's look at this and see what's going on here. And let me slide this over. Dejan, I've been talking to people the past couple of sessions. I've been actually talking to them about your book. And I've been showing them this book about the benefits of starting a small business. And, you know, a lot of people, once again, living paycheck to paycheck. As crazy as it sounds, it might be beneficial to learn the benefits of starting a small business. Why? For a number of reasons. And this book tells you why. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you start a business, win or lose, you win, because there's a whole lot of tax write-offs that come with it as well. But anyway, whole nother subject. But nearly 2/3 of Americans report living paycheck to paycheck. Let's see if I can adjust how this is showing. See if I can go into a whole nother. Let me go here with it. And I was trying to see if I could enlarge the article. I don't know if it's going to work, guys. We'll see what happens. All right, I think I need to try and share my screen again. Let's see. Ba-da-da-da-da. Boom. Let's see if this works. Nearly 2/3 of Americans report living paycheck to paycheck, according to a recent Market Watch Guide survey. More likely than men to report struggling between paydays. So anyway, we understand that that's happening. Let's see. I don't think it's showing, allowing me to share again like it was before. But let me try one more time. I'm going to stop sharing and then reshare. Good evening. Is it Mika? Mika Palmer? Definitely appreciate you tuning in as well. Oh, I think I got it back up. All right, I think we're a little bit back in business, guys. So it talks about nearly 2/3 of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Now, of course, there's a number of reasons why that's happening. And if you look right here, it says 72% of females who responded to our survey feel they're living paycheck to paycheck, compared to nearly 60% of males. I've told you all so many times that the statistics show that women are least likely prepared for retirement. So if you look at the trail, the financial trail that I'm leading you on and guiding you, like I said, if you're a woman, if you're a female, you definitely need to be tuned in. 66% of America is living paycheck to paycheck potentially. What if it's only 50? What if they're off by a few percentage? Either way, a majority of Americans are struggling paycheck to paycheck. Now, there's a reason why. Also, once again, if you are a woman, you need to have your ears and your eyes glued and tuned into this, and also tag and share your female friends as well, so that we can solve this problem. If a woman is living paycheck to paycheck, 72% of women, that means about 28% of women aren't struggling paycheck to paycheck. In other words, they have a little cash flow. Don't say women. Why can't I say 72%? Oh, say females. Okay. I don't know what's political or what's not. Maybe I said something crazy. But 72% of females feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. Now, if that's the case, then how are a majority of the females able to put money away for retirement? Think about it. 72% paycheck to paycheck. That leaves 28% with a little money left over. Now, if you watch any of my previous videos, I talk about the statistics of how a lot of females are not prepared. Majority of women are not prepared for retirement. And of course, when we talk about retirement, retirement looks different for everyone. If I ever retire, it doesn't mean I'm going to go sit down and not do nothing. I'm going to be busy, physically active doing something else, whether it's volunteering, whether it's missions work, whether it's working in a location or area that I want to work in. But when we talk about retirement, having money that if you had to disconnect from your job, you could, whatever the case may be, a lot of women are not, a lot of females are not prepared for retirement. Well, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's mission impossible. You're not going to have enough money to put in a 401k, a 403b, a 457, an IRA, Roth or traditional, a TSP, you name it. The funds aren't going to be there because we're living paycheck to paycheck. Now, men have a better chance of having a retirement according to the stats. But when you look at it, well, a lot of men aren't living paycheck to paycheck. 48%. Now, this is good too. I want y'all to listen to this. It says 48% of people earning $100,000 or more annually, and 36% earning $200K or more reported living paycheck to paycheck. Guess what? It isn't about how much money you make that dictates whether or not you're going to live paycheck to paycheck. So if people who are making $200,000 or more are struggling with a paycheck to paycheck issue, people who are making $100,000 or more, almost half of them, 48% of them, are paycheck to paycheck, then somebody tell me what is the problem. Why do we have 66% of Americans saying that they're living paycheck to paycheck, 48% of the ones making 100K, and only 36% of people making around 200? Can somebody explain to me why they believe a majority of America is living paycheck to paycheck? While someone answers that question, if you're just tuning in, just know that I did let everyone know that we are very close to the YouTube channel, reaching about 300 subscribers. We're currently at 277 subscribers. And when we get to 300, I'm going to celebrate. How? I'm going to give away $50. So I'll give away $50 when we hit 300 subscribers. And I'm going to read Dejan's point. He answered the question. I'm going to read his. But just to let everyone know, I'll have some type of, I don't know, something you got to do. Whether you shoot me an email or something, answer a question, I'm going to give away $50. And like I said, either I'll do $25 and $25 on the gift card, or I'll do $50. Boom. And so when we hit 300, we'll do that. So if you want a chance at $50, you need to go tell your friends, family, loved ones, even the people you don't like, that they need to subscribe to Coach Steele's finance training, because he's giving away money when we hit 300. And I think every landmark, every time we hit a bump, another point, whether it's every 50 people or every 100, I think I'm going to throw some money at everyone, and not everyone, at whoever wins. And of course, it's a high probable chance that it will go to someone who needs it, because 66% of Americans are potentially living paycheck to paycheck. Good evening to you, Mr. Leon Dingle, as well. So what does Mr. Dejan Tanay say? He says, let's see what we have here. He says, car notes, high rent / mortgage, high food expenses, in my opinion, working at banks. Who would I be if I don't give you a little pushback? So, I got to, come from a different angle, but I do agree to a certain extent, but I don't think that's all the reasons why. So yes, the car notes are ridiculous right now, because when the interest rates went up, then it costs more to buy a car, in a sense, depending on what type of deal you make. And y'all, Dejan has been on a tear. he has been going in about these different vehicles, cars that you should. I don't even want to get you started. He's been talking about different cars that are worth buying. And you got to think about it. Even with buying a car, that might dictate your paycheck to paycheck situation, because he's been putting out information about what cars are worth buying and what cars aren't worth buying. So if you already have to buy a car that's going to be expensive and the monthly payments are going to be way higher than what they used to be before the pandemic, what if that car has a problem? What if it has issues and it's prone to have problems and issues and need repair? It can affect your cash flow, which can cause you to live paycheck to paycheck. Or for some people, there's a whole nother category that I just made up, and I don't even know what name to give it. And so there goes Dejan. He's going on the tear. A lot of those cars are terrible. Consumer Reports. So anyway, guys, I'm telling you, it's actually a good point to look at and something to think about when you get ready to buy a car. Why? It's going to affect what you have to spend money on. It's going to affect your cash flow if you buy a car that constantly has problems. And me and Dejan, we both used to have the same type of car at one point a few years ago, but he switched up on me. But it's okay. It's cool. I'm going to have to keep riding it. Actually, the crazy part about it, Dejan, is the vehicle that we had in common. I had a family member that needed to borrow a vehicle. And so the past few months, they have been riding it and using it. And there's some irony and some things that you mentioned about that vehicle. A few months ago, ours had some problems too, and we had to get some repairs done. So I'm not going to argue with you about the vehicles because, yeah, definitely we had some issues too. So anyway, the car notes, high rent and mortgage. Rent has gone up. I keep telling you all. They keep telling you, oh, inflation is slowing down. Inflation is slowing down. Don't believe it. Do not. Okay, you can believe inflation is slowing down, but don't believe that it. Here's the example I use. Inflation was going 100 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour, but now it's slowed down to about 60, and 60 is still fast. It's just not going super fast. It's not breaking the speed limit anymore. So understand you still have to prepare for inflation. You still have to fight against inflation, or otherwise you're going to find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet. And so we have high rent, mortgage is high as well. Normal, it's above average because the interest rates are up. And of course, the interest rates are slowly coming back down, and they will. And then a lot of people will decide to refinance. And then when they decide to refinance, the banks are going to make a lot of money off of everyone because you're going to pay those closing costs and all that other stuff, those fees, and the banks make more money. So banks make money when the interest rates go up, and banks make money when the interest rates go down. And people refinance when the rates go back down because they want to reduce their mortgage payment. So they're trying to make adjustments to reduce their mortgage payment so they'll have more cash flow at the end of the month. But then if they raise your property taxes or insurance, then that mortgage payment can still increase. So you have to come up with a better solution than just that. And of course, if you're interested, reach out to me and I'll give you another solution on how to get rid of that mortgage in potentially 5 to 7 years. And so I've done it myself. So I'm not just talking about something that I haven't done myself. Now, personally, I was able to pay off my mortgage in 3 years and 7 months. And so if you're interested, reach out to me and I'll give you more information on that. But we are talking about why a lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, about 66% of Americans. Now, of course, Market Watch is saying 66.2, but what if they're off by a few percentages? Either way, over half of America is. Now, also, when I mentioned that my mortgage is paid off, guess what? That increases my cash flow at the end of every month, and it decreases the chance of me having to live paycheck to paycheck. So if you have a lot of consumer debt and things that you need to get paid off, once again, getting rid of that debt allows you to have more money left over at the end of the month to take care of the things that you need to. Now, as we talk about people living paycheck to paycheck, think about it. That's just one class of people. There's a whole nother group that I have a name for. I don't have a name for. Y'all can help me with the name. But there are a group of people that they can't even make it paycheck to paycheck. They don't have enough money left over at the end of the month. So they have to go find a credit card. And when they have to go find a credit card, now that credit card is helping compensate for the cash flow or the income they don't have at the end of every month. Think about it. And if you continue that cycle every month, then that credit card balance continues to increase. And now you're paying interest on things you had to pay for a month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I talked about it yesterday. Some people are paying interest on their electricity bill because they had to swipe the credit card to pay for the electric bill. They haven't paid the balance off on the credit card, and now you're paying interest on the electricity you used back in August. Well, it's August now. August 1st, July, June, May, April. And so you have to really pay attention to this because you don't want to pay interest on your groceries that you had for 2 months ago. Don't want to pick on anybody. I just want to really bring this and allow you to be aware of what's going on. The cycle, like Robert Kiyosaki calls it, the rat race. How to get out of this rat race and not become a victim of this rat race, but be able to get out of it and put yourself in a better situation. And it starts with knowing what you have coming in and knowing what you have going out. This past weekend, Saturday, I did a YouTube video. And of course, you can go to Coach Steele's finance training and watch that video. And I showed you how to keep up with your budget, manage your funds on an Excel sheet. I did that on Saturday. And so if you go to the YouTube channel, you can go back and watch that video, which says Excel sheet budgeting strategies. And so go back and watch that, and that'll help. And I gave a demonstration of how someone with limited income, and they were negative $1,500 at the end of the month, that they didn't have to pay for everything they needed. And I showed you how that person got back positive, back into the green. So go back and watch that video. But when we look at this article, guys, let's see, let me go back to this article. It talks about how you can, it talks about the statistics, and it says inflation, high cost living, and all that stuff we just discussed. And it talks about stay motivated, tracking your spending. And that's what I'm talking about, that video that I did on Saturday, learning how to track your income. And let's see what we have next. And it basically says, and this is what it means to live paycheck to paycheck. Americans living paycheck to paycheck spend nearly as much money as they earn every month, making it difficult to save for the future. Basically saying what I said. This is why people are least likely to be prepared for retirement. Let's go down a little bit further. Oh, look at this. I've repeated this multiple times. Women, if you're tuning in and you're listening, you, your aunts, your sisters, your cousins, everybody who's tuning in, young men, if you have mothers, if you have sisters, aunts, female cousins, women are more likely to be living paycheck to paycheck than men. Now, there's a number of reasons why that is. But regardless of the reasons, we have to be more aware, and we have to check on our female counterparts and the women in our families and make sure what are they doing financially so that they're not part of that statistic where they're living one paycheck to paycheck and two, least likely prepared for retirement. I'm talking about this for a reason. One, because I want to see a change. I think that we can bring about a change when it comes to finances in our community and, of course, dealing with women, because it's having an effect on how women, females, carry themselves day to day, month to month, and it affects their children. It affects how they earn a living, how much they're being paid, living paycheck to paycheck by gender. Females, 72.12%. Males, 59.99%, almost 60%. So it's more likely that women are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I've gone over that multiple times. I've hit that point home a lot. And so what do I want to talk about? How has this affected, let's say you grew up in a household and that household was living paycheck to paycheck. I grew up in a household where my mother was living paycheck to paycheck. Now, of course, there were, a lot of circumstances. My stepfather had passed away. My mother was raising 7 kids. 2 of them biologically weren't hers. They were her nieces. But when my mother's sister passed away, which is my aunt, when she passed away, she decided to raise her children. And of course, she brought them in the house. So now 7 kids, 1 mother, and the father figure passed away. So there are certain circumstances that happen that cause people financially to be in a bad spot. Now, there's a lot of things that we can do to prevent that from happening. One example, we have a lot of family members and different people and loved ones that we know that pass away. And that's why it's important to get life insurance. And one day I'm going to do an interview with someone who's certified, and I'll interview someone who can talk about life insurance and give good quality information. I'll make sure I vet the person before I put them on my platform, make sure they are legit. But life insurance is something that we can do for those emergencies and situations of unexpected of people passing away. But think about this. When you were a child and you grew up in a home where, potentially parents are living paycheck to paycheck, and you go to school and you don't have enough, how did that affect the children, or how did that affect you as a child? You may have been someone who got bullied or picked on because you didn't have name brand clothes, name brand shoes, or your parents had a car that they used to call either a hoopty or a lemon, whatever the case may be. And think about it. A child is being picked on because of circumstances that are completely out of their control. A child can get picked on because of circumstances that are out of their control, or a decision that their parents or their guardian made financially. And so they are going through whatever they go through and just making the best out of what they have. But yet they go to school and someone is picking on them because they don't have or don't look like everyone else looks who appears to have money. Now, of course, as you get older, you realize that, a lot of the jokes and all of that, not only were they childish, but their parents might have been deep in debt and running up credit cards just to make sure their children had the physical or materialistic things to make them look cool or feel good, or whatever the case may be. But it does have an effect. And I believe that's why it's important. And I know I'm getting a little off the subject of paycheck to paycheck, but think about it. That's why it's important to talk to your kids about bullying and picking on people and other kids, because you never know, 1, what type of effect that may have on people, and 2, so they can understand that family member may have lost their house. There may have been a tragic event, hurricane, a fire that displaced them. A loved one may have passed away in their family, and now they're just doing the best that they can. And you got another kid jawing at you and picking on you for something that's completely out of your control. So we have to do a better job of educating the youth and kids and teaching them not to bully and pick on other people. So you never know. It's a small world. And 2, you never know what can happen in your life or your loved one's life where they can be put in that same situation. So anyway, guys, as we talk about a lot of Americans, majority of Americans potentially living paycheck to paycheck, we have to be aware of this. And so it causes us to make wiser decisions financially. If you are not keeping up with your money, if you are not managing your money, if you're not writing it down on a piece of paper or an Excel sheet, or potentially an app, using an app to keep up with your finances, you need to have your finances where you can physically see them. I always tell everybody, get your budget from up here and put it on something. Put it on paper, put it on digital, put it on Excel sheet. Put it somewhere so you can examine and see where your money is going and tracking it. Don't do out of sight, out of mind when it comes to financial literacy. Because if you do out of sight, out of mind when it comes to financial literacy, some people say what you don't know won't hurt you. When it comes to financial literacy, what you don't know will hurt you financially, and it will come back to bite you. So you have to be willing to be educated. And that's why I have these difficult, tough conversations that will prove to be valuable in years to come, because I don't believe that the cost of things are going to decrease. I know and I'm confident that the cost of things are going to increase and it's going to get tighter on Americans. And if you learn how to budget your money and have these difficult conversations in your household, in your family, with your loved ones, and we make financial literacy conversations normal, then your financial situation can improve. We can get to a better place financially as a whole once we have these conversations. You don't have to be in debt forever. There's other creative ways to get out of debt. There's other creative ways to pay off that consumer debt and those mortgages that are looming over your head. You don't have to worry or panic and say, I'll never be a homeowner because this stuff costs too much. There's a way to get rid of a mortgage faster. You don't have to be stuck in the cookie cutter traditional ways of handling finances. There are other creative things you can do and effective. That way, what I say, you can maneuver through this financial world and these financial systems at a better and faster rate. Stop relying on old information that the banks are trying to teach because it will slow you down from where you're trying to go financially. There are other creative ideas, and I'm going to continue to share them on Coach Steele's finance training on YouTube and, of course, on Facebook Live. So definitely, if you're not on YouTube and you have not subscribed, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training. I told you all I was going to get off by 7:45. It is about 7:43, so I got about 2 minutes left. Don't know if anybody has any questions or any comments. Feel free to drop them in the comment section on Facebook or in the chat section on YouTube. I'll definitely respond back to them. Even if you're watching the replay and you comment, I'll come back and respond to them. Once again, lastly, in these last few minutes, just remember, I already told everyone that I am very close to 300 YouTube subscribers. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm going to celebrate by giving some money away. And let's see if I can share this again. Let's see. So we are at 277 subscribers. We are huddling up and it's growing. About a month or two ago, I was at around 100 and something. So we're growing pretty quick, guys. Once again, there's a lot of content, information on here, live content about financial literacy, tons of it. And of course, I do have a lot of videos as well when it comes to gardening. If you like gardening, feel free to dive in here and watch all of these gardening videos that I have about me growing my own vegetables. Pretty cool. We see a zucchini right here and a few other things. But anyway, peppers, that's my niece right there. Looking at that is a pear, all that cool stuff. Broccoli, you name it. So anyway, feel free to jump on the YouTube channel. When we get to 300 subscribers, I'm going to give away either two $25 certificates or one $50 gift certificate to a winner. Of course, you'll have to, send me your information, and I'll give you more details and information on that. Stay tuned. 66% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. We got to fix it, and we got to do it by keeping up with our income, our cash flow, and do a better job of budgeting. And if you don't know how to budget, then of course, and you need help and guidance, shoot me an email at coachsteelefinance@gmail. You'll see it running down there at the bottom of the screen, coachsteelefinance@gmail.com. Shoot me an email and we can work on getting you in the right direction, and we'll start from scratch. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It is 7:45. This is Coach Steele's Finance Training, the financial voice of the people. And if you didn't know, then you probably need to ask somebody, and they'll tell you why. We produce results, and I look forward to guiding you through this process. And women, I'm going to stay on it. Females, we got to do a better job. Well, I'm not a female. You and you as a whole got to do a better job with those